I just did the live stream on Facebook for some self-employed and for musicians here in Arizona, and I thought I'd clean it up with a video that has links and other information, and I will post it on my website and on YouTube. So I do have an outline that I'm happy to email you if you want that, if it's easier, if you're the type of person who would just rather sit and read it. So I'll just go over this really quickly to recap what I posted earlier. Where you apply for unemployment. And this, I'm talking to self-employed. A lot of people who are employed have already done it and they're okay. Self-employed people, musicians, people who cut hair. If you're a sole prop or an LLC, you work for yourself, you're 1099 at most places, you're going to go to des.az.gov. If you haven't done any of this, your first step is to file a claim, and you're going to be put in the system. You need to do this from a computer, not from your phone. And the reason is because some of the questions are longer and it just distorts and it just doesn't line up right with your phone. So do this on a computer, on Safari or Chrome, and you're going to answer everything that you can. Some of the questions are locked, meaning they know that there's going to be an overwhelming amount of people who are affected by COVID, so they've locked those questions. So don't get frustrated if you come to a question that you can't click either answer. Just skip it and go to the next thing. Again, you're just trying to be put in the system. And then once you do that, it's going to take a day or so to be actually processed into that online system. After that, every Sunday, you're going to go back to that website and you're going to click File a Weekly Claim. You will know if you're in the system if you can file the weekly claim, if it lets you with your social security number or your EIN that you entered. The reason you do this on Sunday is because it's for the week prior, and you want to do this every week. If you skip a week, then you're not going to get paid for that week. They will back pay you according to the date that you file and or according to the date that you said you lost income due to loss of work. For me, mine was March 7th. My last gig as a musician was March 6th. So I put March 7th as my last date of income for being self-employed. Be patient. It took me a little over a week to start getting things in the mail. So you can call them, but if you've already filed online and you've been put in the system, then you're just going to get a prompt that is going to take you around in circles, and it's going to route you to a message that says, "We're sorry, we can't take your call right now." You have to understand that the Department of Economic Security in Arizona is overwhelmed, as most states are. No one was anticipating this, so everyone's playing catch up. And yes, our state is behind. So try to do as much as you can online without calling them. That's going to save you further frustration. Once you start getting letters in the mail, let me tell you what you might receive. And some of you might not, and that'll be great if you don't. But you might receive a letter that says benefit payments are pending because of your availability. Answer the questions below in detail and return this form within 5 calendar days from the mail date. So it's asking you for more information. Now, they've given a date, and all of these letters have deadlines on them. Ignore them. They know that these are automated and they're sending them out and people aren't getting them in a timely manner, so they are not going to expect you to send it in by that date. For example, I got a letter that asked for more information, and it was the deadline date was for that same day. So they know that you're not going to get it in by that date, but don't sit on it. Go ahead and get it done as soon as you can, and then fax and or mail it, snail mail, to them. I put a cover letter with everything that I send, so I can detail out. The more detail they have, then the less they're going to have to ask you for. So that was one letter I got. On that same day, I got a letter it says, "This is your wage statement for unemployment insurance claim." At the bottom, don't freak out, but it says you do not qualify because you have no base period wages. Well, nobody knew what to put there, and there wasn't a place of explanation online quite yet for that. So again, they've told me to file weekly claims. Even if we get this, it's not a rejection letter, it's just their system trying to catch up. So I attached a letter with this explaining what my quarterly income is based on last year's taxes. And I did file my 2018 and my 2019 taxes. For those of you who haven't filed your 2018 or your 2019 taxes, it's going to be harder for you to get in the system. They are not saying that 2019 taxes have to be filed, but they are saying 2018 do need to be filed. If they aren't, you're going to have to show proof of income for the last 6 months, even maybe longer. And your proof of income is bank statements, check stubs from venues that have paid you. If you started doing taxes for 2018, anything that your tax person has or that you have that maybe you're filling out a Schedule C, it's just going to be harder. They anticipate that if you're asking for help from the state, from the government, then you're doing your part to file your taxes. So 2018, 2019, if you haven't filed 2019, they're going to go off of your 2018. And then they might ask for some bank statements. Okay, another letter that I got was as an employer. Now, I have an LLC. My company is NP Music LLC. That umbrella is me as a musician, and it also is my booking agency. So even though I 1099 everybody, I still filled it out as an employer. So they also had my EIN number, so they could look up information regarding my booking company. So I got a notice to employer, and it just basically asked for some more information. It wasn't necessarily a rejection letter, but it was basically asking why did the person that said you employed them start filing? Well, that person is me. So I just put laid off, and then I put COVID. And then there's a letter of explanation for that too. Again, the more information they have, then the easier it's going to be processed in the system. With the information that they're requesting that you're sending back, go ahead and include a letter of hardship. Explain what you did full-time. If you're a full-time musician, explain that you had, 5 to 6 gigs a week, and that was your main source of income, and you've lost all of that due to COVID. They want to know what your sources of income were and how that diminished your ability to function financially. So write a letter of hardship. Don't write your whole life story. Just say, this is what happened, this is my income, and it decreased on this date. If you are also employed elsewhere and you lost hours or they laid you off or whatever, you need to file as well. So my two main sources of income is Airbnb and being a full-time musician and booking agent. If you have a side hustle, for instance, I am also the accompanist at a Christian school, and that's very part-time. Well, that became even less time when all of this hit because they went to online classes. Luckily, I'm still employed by them, and I can clock a few hours here and there, but it's nothing like what it was before. So even if you're employed elsewhere as a W-2 employee, you can still file as a self-employed unemployment claim. To get through to DES if you're trying to call them, this is just a little trick, but don't tell them I told you. If you've already filed online and you still have questions that you just feel like you really need to talk to someone and you're just not getting answers, when you call, click the prompt 1 that asks if you're a new claimant. If you click the prompt 2 that says you have already filed online, then it's going to reroute you through the system only to say, sorry, we can't help you. We've got a large volume of calls. Please try again later. So just a little trick. Again, don't tell them I sent you. You can click prompt 1 as if you're new to everything. But then, please, when you're talking to these people, they're just doing the best they can with what they have. And the people you're talking to, they're not web techs. They already know that the site is glitchy. They already know that some of the forms aren't updated. They know all of this stuff. So please don't take that time and their time to communicate your frustrations about the website. Ask them your questions. If you still feel like you don't understand the answer, just tell them, hey, I'm trying to understand, but I don't understand what you're saying. Can you say it in a different way? Or can you transfer me to someone else who can say it in a different way? They're trying their best. They're very, very kind. They do want to help you, but they are overwhelmed with thousands and thousands of applicants each week that they didn't have before. And a lot of it is coming from self-employment. So make sure that you just be kind, and if you don't get the answers there, then there are plenty of people that are willing to help, like me. Talk about the CARES Act. So The CARES Act is not the same as your regular unemployment. The CARES Act was a $5 million funding that we got from the government for the state of Arizona. The CARES Act is supposed to cover up to $600 weekly for a certain amount of time for certain self-employed people. If you do not qualify for unemployment, then you're still in the system if you've already signed up for the CARES Act. The CARES Act link is not live yet, and there's a link on there that basically says check back. But the reason it's not live yet is because the state of Arizona hasn't actually gotten the funding in. It's been approved, it's just not in. So if they don't have the money, they cannot distribute it. So you might be able to get that. That's something you need to check in daily with. Go to des.az.gov and check that link daily to see if it's live. It's supposed to be coming live pretty soon. So check there and you'll fill out that application. If you filled nothing else out, then fill that out. And I believe that you do not have to fill it out if you're already in the system with DES. Stimulus checks, that package. So the stimulus checks are for any individuals that received less than $75,000 last year. And that can be for each person in each household. So for me, I'm just single, so it would just be me. And I believe it's an additional amount for dependents. Anyway, the stimulus checks are coming and they're already being distributed. However, if you are not in the government system with your banking information, it's going to take you longer to get your check. A lot of people are already signed up with direct deposit because that's how they chose to get their refunds when they did their taxes, whether it be with a tax person or TurboTax or whatever program they used. I'm not signed up with that system. You can sign up on irs.gov. That link also is not live yet, so you'll want to check that every day. But if you want to get your stimulus check quicker, then you can sign up with your banking information. Not everybody wants the government to have their banking information, and that's okay. Just know that it might take you a little bit longer to get your check. But another website to check every day if you want to do that is irs.gov. And it's one of the first things you see. It says COVID, and you click on that, and then you'll see, I think I have it right here actually. Oh, here's a good thing. There are two links. One says non-filers, and those are people who have not filed their 2018, 2019 taxes, or other people. Filers get your payment. This is the link that you're going to want to check daily and see if it's live yet. And then that's where you'll be able to enter your banking information. Only if you want to. That's only if you want to sign up to get yours directly deposited to your bank account. Okay, it looks like Fletcher has joined us now. Just a few last things. So this wasn't as widely advertised, and there weren't a lot of questions about this as much as there was the unemployment. But those of you who are renters or own homes you're renting to someone, there is assistance for you too. So you can go to housing.az.gov and apply for rental assistance. Landlords are not allowed to start an eviction process right now. I believe it's 90 to 120 days because of this global pandemic. So they can also sign up for assistance, but please communicate to your landlords. They know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on, but be in communication. Let them know, I've applied for this. I'm being proactive. Don't just sit back and say, oh, now I don't have to pay rent. That's not the case. You are going to have to pay rent. And the longer you wait to do it, then the more expensive it's going to be. They're not going to be able to charge you late fees or anything like that, but this is an assistance program that is helping mediate between you and your landlord so that they don't start an eviction process, and so that when you do start getting income in, you can create a payment plan with them. So go to, again, housing.az.gov, and that one's pretty self-explanatory. They do ask for a lot of information, so be prepared to give your driver's license, your bank statements, your tax forms, a hardship letter, all kinds of stuff. But it's worth it. Every little bit helps. And again, communicate with your landlords. They know, they need help too, because if they're not getting their renters checks, then they're unable to pay their mortgages, and that puts them behind too. So they're all applying for this. Another great resource that I found, it's called ArizonaTogether.org. This is your one-stop shop that has all of these links that I listed and that I told you about with even more information. So ArizonaTogether.org is just a great resource if you miss something, or if you just want to send a link to a friend that it was like, here's a one-stop shop. So you can check that out at ArizonaTogether.org. The last one I want to talk about is Small Business Administration, SBA.gov. So there's been some confusion with this from what I've experienced with people asking me questions. This has nothing to do with your unemployment. This has nothing to do with the CARES Act, and it has nothing to do with your STEM check. This is the SBA organization that helps small businesses to obtain funds for capital, or just, if they run through a hardship, and they're putting together some special programs that make it easier to qualify for forgivable loans. And I believe you can get up to $10,000. Now, it is still a loan and you will have to qualify, so they will do a credit check. There are some other programs on there that if you're not requesting a loan but you're requesting assistance, you can apply for too. So that one is SBA.gov. And guys, all of these resources are important for you to look up, and I get it. I totally get it. As musicians and creative people, some of us just can't sit down and do the homework, and it's hard because our brains are so type B over here, and to do something that's completely type A and it might take a few hours, then it can be very overwhelming. And then those who are completely type A, trying to figure out the creative thing, it can be overwhelming for them too. So I'm somewhere right there in the middle. I can do all the business stuff and I can do all the creative stuff, but I'm also here to help. So that's why I'm creating this video. And if I can help ease some of your frustrations to where you're not pulling your hair out and you're not going to bed crying and you're not feeling so overwhelmed, then please connect with me. I am here to help you. I'm here to serve. And we are all in this community trying to do the same thing, and some of us have different strengths than others, and I feel like if we just pull together and help each other, then that's going to make this a lot easier. And then lastly, I just want to say that I appreciate seeing a lot of the musicians still gigging online, and I know that it's not a huge monetary benefit for a lot of you, but I will say that it is helping the community. And I know that because, that's our job as musicians, right? Is to put smiles on people's faces and to entertain and just to help take people away to a different place in their mind. So keep doing that. If you're one of the ones that are doing like live streams every night or every weekend, keep doing that. And I think it's important to have some sort of normalcy, and music is normalcy. And if they can't go out and see us, then let's keep doing it online. And if any of you have any questions, again, you can email me or you can call me. I'll put my number right up here. Or if you want to do a Zoom meeting, if we have several people who are just like, I need help, I'm happy to walk through some stuff with you, and I can share my screen with you. But just let me know. Don't sit at home by yourself just getting so frustrated that you give up. You can do this. You can fill out this paperwork. It seems like a lot of stuff, but once it's done, it's done. And then every Sunday, you need to file online your weekly claim at des.az.gov. Okay, guys, lots of love to you and encouragement that we are going to get through this. And the more we can do together and the more we can lift each other up, then I think the easier it'll be. Have a great Easter weekend.
Erase all